when not dozing, keeping my blade as close to the ground as possible. So bring everything back online. Okay, as I'm dozing, on my right-hand side at the bottom of my screen, it's going to show me how high my blade is versus the ground. You won't have this in normal life. So if you can imagine, I'm going to keep my blade if I'm not dozing. If I do not want to push anything, if there's no reason for me to touch this ground whatsoever, I'm going to keep my blade, let's say, between 4 and 6 inches off the ground as I'm traveling. And I'm going to be utilizing my controls to keep that 4 to 6 inches. So I'm purposely going over these hills right now to show you that I'm going to have to manipulate my blade just a little bit. Even though I'm traveling and I'm only traveling right now, does not mean that if I climb over a little hill or go down an area or up an area that I might have to move my blade. Like we talked about, in doing this, and I'm going to turn around and head back towards the site where we're going to be working next while we're talking. In doing this, like I explained, safety-wise, we don't want our blade up in the air because it's hindering our view. So if I have my blade up like this, let's say this blade is 14 feet wide or 12 feet wide. I don't know exactly what the D8 is, but usually they're between 10 and 12 feet at least, maybe 14 feet wide. And let's say on this D8, it's probably about chest high at the peak of my blade here. So let's say it's 4 to 5 feet high. If I have this blade all the way up in the highest position it will go, Danny, my boss here, could be standing directly in front of my blade, and I could get back in my cab and not know that he's standing there on the phone or grating a steak or doing something in front of my blade, and I'm going to drive over Mr. Danny, which is going to be a very, very bad day. For example purposes, one of the things that I have done in my career, which I'm not proud of, and I've done this twice, is even with my blade on the ground, and this is definitely worth mentioning. So I floated and put my blade all the way down on the ground. I'm going to get out and I'm going to go use the restroom right now, and I'm going to come back to my dozer. What I didn't realize is I dropped my blade right in front of a clean out. And I was working a road-based situation that day, so the clean out was probably 6 to 8 inches above the existing ground we have now, because I'm going to build my road up. So I have about 6 to 8 inches of 6-inch PVC poking out of the ground that's literally 6 inches in front of my blade. Went to the bathroom, came back. I'm going to forget, like I did in the real world, that this is in front of me. I'm immediately going to start going, blading my way along, like I talked about, to keep that dust out of my face, and I hear the big pop. I'm going to back up, and I realize that I just ran over the clean out. So the only reason I mentioned this is keeping our blade low, and if we park it for any reason whatsoever, not only am I going to check in front of my machine and in the rear of my machine as I get out, as I come back to my machine, I'm going to inspect the front of my machine and the rear of my machine, more or less just do one lap around my machine before I climb in the driver's side of this machine, just to make sure I don't have anything in front of me.